Welcome to VoiceBootcamp, a global name in unified communication. Hello, my name is Faisal Khan, CEO and founder of VoiceBootcamp.com. In this particular self-study kit of UCCE Advanced Scripting, I'm going to show you how to develop a script that selects skills group based on area code. Now, this was a script that was designed based on one of my students who needed help in developing a script where a skills group would be selected based on portion of their caller ID. So if the caller ID of the person was from the database was from New York, it will select a New York skills group. So the requirement for this particular lab is that we will select skills based on the area code. The script will first check the customer to see if it is an existing customer. And if it is an existing customer, it's going to find the phone number of the customer, which is usually 10-digit or saved in the database. And if a match is found, then what we're going to do another database lookup which will contain the area code and the skills group name. So we got one database that contains the customer information and one database that contains only the area code and skills group name. Then second database lookup, if a match is found, a skills group name will be selected and that name will be dynamically applied to the skills group node. So using the skills group node, we will choose a dynamic method of selecting a skills group. So here's my database for the customer. Now this is a database that's taken from the UCCX script. So you got the account number right there and you got their phone number right there. So as you can see, all the phone numbers are 10-digit. So our goal is to obtain the first 3 digits of these numbers. And then once we obtain that, if a match of course is found based on the account number, once we obtain that 3-digit code, then what we're going to do, we're going to dip into another database table which contains the area code and their the skills group name. So these are the skills group name that are already defined in your UCCE skills group. So this is the two tables that we're working on. So to establish this, the first thing we need to do is set up a script that communicates with CVP server, because of course we need to collect end user, we need to announce the user to enter their PIN number and collect some digit from them and so on and so. So we will go ahead and do that. So first thing we do is define the IP address of your media server. This is where the prompts are located using the micro app media server. And if you're not familiar with some of these variables, please take a look at our earlier labs from our study kits, which will explain you how to develop a script from ground zero. Next step, we're going to set up the language, followed by the subfolder where my media prompts are located. And then we define the input type, whether it is a DTMF or text-to-speech. Once those variables informations are supplied, we're going to try to establish a connection using send to VRU to the CVP server. Now, if it is successful, then we're going to play a welcome prompt. Of course, every script should have some sort of welcome prompt. Now, if the welcome prompt is unable to be executed for some reason, the call will end. But if it is successful, then call will move to the next screen, which is get digit. So we're going to say run external script get digit. So the get digit job is to collect the PIN number from the user. And once we collect that PIN number, our next step is to look at in the database based on that whatever the caller has entered, caller entered digit. So if the database lookup found a value based on whatever the caller entered digit, then it will be successfully go to the success node. Otherwise it's going to end, which is probably go to the end node. So once we found a match, then our next step is to set a variable. What this variable is saying that collect the database, collect the str phone, the phone number from the database table for that particular record, take the first three digit of the phone number. So substring basically suggests that start from position 0, take the next three digit and store that value into this variable called peripheral variable 1. So obviously if your phone number is 702 let's say 2440123, 0 comma 1 basically says let me rewrite that. So I'll write it here, 702 2440123 is the phone number. 0 means starts from here, 3 means take 3 digit, collect that information and store that into this variable. So now the peripheral variable 1 contains the value 702 because of this command right here. Alright, so once that is successful, now of course setting variables is always going to be successful, there's nothing else to do there. Go to the next step where we're going to do is another, so this is where it's coming in, we're going to do another DB lookup. And this time we're looking into the CSQ table, the skills group table. Remember the second table that we saw in the beginning. Now what we're doing, we're looking for a record that matches we're looking for a record that matches this variable 1. The value of the variable 1 contains what? 702, right? Based on my example that I gave you before. So we're saying look into that table, find a match for 702. And then we're going to do is transfer, if a record is found, we want to capture the queue name strcsq and transfer that value to variable 2. So now the variable 2 contains the actual skills group name. Now we're going to use select statement to select an agent and based on longest available agent. If it is successful, then go to skills group node. Now in the skills group, we're going to say choose a skills group based on peripheral variable 2, which contains what? The skills group name. But if it is unsuccessful, meaning that agent is not logged in, then go to queue the call to the same skills group name. And if you are able to successfully queue the call, now obviously you need to let the user know the agents are busy, right? So what you do, you say run external script to play the agent busy music, followed by you play a hold music. You wait for, let's say, well, shouldn't be 0, should be at least 30 seconds or 15 seconds, whatever. And after that, repeat the whole process until an agent becomes available. So this is how this script is developed. Now I'm going to show you how to develop this script. So I'm going to start a new script, which is bit routing. And obviously the first thing I'm going to do is start node and set some variables. Set variables, and the first variable that I'm going to define is a call variable. And what our goal here is to define the media server. The media server is the IP address of your HTTP web server where your video file or audio files are. Okay, so this is the IP address of my web server. So that's the first step. Now obviously we're going to connect this dot. Second, I can copy and paste next variable, which is going to be defining my locale. Again, if you're not familiar with this, please take a look at if you have access to our video at the beginning, the beginner labs, well, the first few labs, which is a beginner, which will walk you through how to develop the script and what each variable type means. Okay, so I'm telling the locale to be the English. I will connect this dot. I will copy this, and what I'm going to do define here is the folder where my audio files are. So media, app media library, which is app. This is a subfolder. Okay, one more variable to define, that is my input type. So connect, and what we want to do is define color input. Sorry, input type, not color input. And the color input will be DTMF. All right, so I have all my variables. Now I'm ready to connect my UCCE rather to the CVP. So I want to drag and drop this area, and I want to bring send to VRU node. So send to VRU. If it is successful, I need to go one location. If it's not, then I need to go to a different place. So first, let's bring the end nodes. So I will define the end nodes here. Disconnect. So I connect the failure node to the end, and if it's successful, then I want to play a welcome prompt. So which is to run external script. It's like creating a flowchart, isn't it? So let's play the welcome prompt. And if the welcome prompt somehow cannot play, I want to end the script. Of course, I can take other measures, but assume that right now to keep it simple. And if welcome prompt is successful, then I want to play a get digit string. So what I want to do, it's successful, change to get digit. And if it does fail, I want to end. Now I have a choice to connect this to all the way here, or I can keep my script neat and grid by bringing it right down here. It really doesn't matter. Obviously, the more nodes you add, the more memory is going to allocate. So keep that in mind. That may be an issue, but it depends on how you want to organize your script. Now, get digit straight after you collect the digit, we want to do a database lookup, and this is when we bring the DB lookup node. And in the DB lookup, what we're going to do, we're going to say properties. We're going to choose the database. Now, this is already integrated part of our deployment. So this is something that you need to learn how to do in terms of connecting the UCCE with your database. So I want to look at the customer table. And based on what value, so now customer tables could have thousands of records or maybe millions of records. So the question is, how do I filter it? So we're saying only pull the record that match the pin number. So it match certain things, which could be pin number, could be whatever the caller entered and whatnot, right? So our goal is to find a record based on what the user has entered as part of their PIN number. Now keep one thing in mind though, in the database there can only be one PIN number. It has to be unique. That means there cannot be multiple records with the same PIN number. So it is or account number rather. So we want to say, okay, so we're gonna do call enter digit. So whatever the caller has entered, which will be stored in the caller enter digit, find a match. So now it has a record, or it may not have a record. Now of course I can connect, I can be a little bit more like that, and I can connect this. If it's unsuccessful, disconnect. But if it is successful, then I need to do the next step, which is set the variables. So collect the value and set the variables. So let's say set variables, successful. And what we are setting here is peripheral. We want to set peripheral variable 1, and we want to say, okay, there's a built-in function we can use called substar. And what we want to do, we want to say that, okay, in this variable, get the database customer phone number, get that field value, and then comma, start from 0, first digit, take the next 3 digit, and store that information into this variable called peripheral variable 1. So click OK. So now I have the first 3 digits of the 10-digit phone number. So once that is successful, I'm going to do another DB lookup. So let me go toward the left now. So I'm going to copy this DB lookup. And this one will change the database, but this one's going to be CSQ, but not based on what caller has entered, but based on what the peripheral one value variable 1 contains. So we want to say based on this value. So find a record from CSQ that has, remember, at this stage, this contains a value 702 of my first 3 digit of my phone number, let's say. So we want to find a record from CSQ that matches the area code 702. And obviously, if you take a look at our database right here, 702 contains the str CSQ, which is the skills name called LAS. So it's going to look for a table record for that area code 702. Now, if it is unable to execute for some reason, end the call. But if it is successful, what we want to do right now is transfer the name of the CSQ into a variable. So use a set variable. Successful. Now we're going to say transfer to variable 2. Database CSQ str CSQ. So get the name value from the str CSQ and assign it to this variable 2. Okay, so now I am ready to select an agent. I will use left. Actually, rather go like this. And then based on skills group, if it's successful, I want to choose a skills group. Now the problem is I must define, see here I have a choice of selecting all the skills groups statically, but our goal is to select them dynamically based on what user has found from the database, right? So we're going to say lookup target by reference, by expression, by name. We're going to go to formula edit. And we're going to say call peripheral variable 2. So get the skills group based on the by name, because we're using the name. And that's how you're going to select an agent from that Las Vegas, or next call could be New York, or the following call could be Chicago, whatever. If it fails to find an agent, we want to queue the call. Queue. And again the same thing, look up by reference, by name, skills group, formula, call, same color, so same variables. Same variables. Okay. Now, if the queue was successful, we're going to play a music, run external, or announce the user the agent was busy. If queue is unsuccessful, we're going to end the call. But if it is unable to play, go to properties, we're going to say agent busy. But if it is unable to play agent busy because the music file does not exist, someone accidentally deleted, we're going to say end the call. But if it is successfully played that, we're going to say hold the music. Of course, after you tell the user that all of our agents are busy, you're gonna still play some music, right? Like could be rock and roll or jazz or advertisement, whatnot. If it fails to play, disconnect. But if it's successful, we're going to wait. Let's say 30 seconds. Every 30 seconds we'll announce it. So after 30 seconds, after you play the whole music, go to 30 seconds wait, and then reconnect the 30 seconds, go back to busy, play whole music, 30 seconds, play, and it repeats the whole process. So this is how we have develop this database where script that will select agent based on the area code. So now I'm going to do is save this script. Let's validate that. Okay, now we need to find out the account number. So let me go back to my table. This is an account number right there, 11502. So let's do one thing. We're going to do is script call tracer. We're going to say, okay, well, let me map the script first. So this script is developed, so I'm going to map it to call type. I'm going to choose the 4000, delete what we have here. Voice CT, schedule, delete. I'm going to choose the lab 14. Okay, so all good. Now I want to do a call trace based on this. The phone number will be 4000, and caller enter digit will be 11502. So let's say the agent selected is pod 1, providing the agent is available. All right, let's see what happened. It's going to take a little time. Oh. So I'm going to do a quick call trace. We're going to enter the account number 11502 and send the calls. Now, because there's no agent logged in, so it's going to go in a queue mode. Okay, so I'm going to have to do the test in a live call rather than simulation, because it's keep going to actually I had to log into Finas server. That's why I couldn't make it happen. So I had to log into Finas to do the test. So let's do a call trace. If I were to, well, I'm gonna log back in, I guess. Let me open the script again. Okay, so let's try again. Call trace, dial number 4000, customer dial 11502, agent login as pod 1. Okay, so you can see some of the traces right now. So let's analyze them. So call started at this stage right here. Start the call, went through come on. Okay, so if I were to bring my script somewhere here, okay, I'm going to just, yeah, that's better. So set the variables. So we're at this stage. Set the locale, library. Step 5 will be the DTMF. Send to VRU successful. So that means it's connecting. Run external script, which is the welcome. Then run another external script, which is get digit. And then you're doing DB lookup. In the DB lookup, you enter the key 11502. DB lookup was okay. Account number was 11502. The first name, it picked up the last name, picked up the phone number. Then using the variable set variable 2, what we're doing, we're collecting the first 3 digit. So if you look at carefully here, see it says 718. Let me yeah, right there, 718 in bracket. So then you do another DB lookup. Key is 718. DB lookup, okay. Get the area code. strcsq. It picked up the CSQ name NYC. And then set variables again, where you assigning the value NYC into the peripheral variable 2. Choosing the skills group based on NYC. And then of course ultimately connect the call to an agent based on longest available agent. And the agent that's logged in is 3103, so return the extension of that agent, and the call was successful. Now if I were to show you that live call, redial.
Thank you for calling Cisco Systems.
I'm going to dial 11501 account number. See, San Jose CSQ. If I redial.
Thank you for calling Cisco Systems. Please enter your
11502. It picked up New York CSQ name. If I redial.
Thank you for calling Cisco Systems.
11503. Picked up Las Vegas. So as you can see, the script is working as designed. It was selecting caller ID, skills group name based on the state code. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed this video and you learned something new. There are more videos that are coming in. Visit our website www.voicebootcamp.com.